Tesla has been trying to make an inroad into India, and we're now given to understand that it is in talks with the government. They have met government representatives. This was as of last 3 weeks ago, and the government suggesting that if you are to resist and have a fair play game, which is what likes of Tata and Mahindra will have an objection to, and if you are to resist backlash from existing automobile giants in India, you will have to start developing a vendor base in India.
That's right. So make in India, or manufacture in India, or assemble in India, or procure from India. You know, all these are very important tenets for any international brand to operate in India. We've seen even IKEA. Right, IKEA invested what, 10,000 crores or something, but 35% of its procurement had to happen from India, and over time that number has to only increase. And I don't remember exactly, but I think over a 5-year, 7-year period it has to breach the 70% import or sort of procurement number. We've seen that even with, let's say, a much smaller brand like Miniso. So Miniso, when it came to India, it had very few products that were made in India or where the procurement happened from Indian vendors. It was mostly China, but then of course China backlash, which we talk about practically in every story. So let's not go there. But over time, you walk into a Miniso store today, you will see most of the items are made in India. So you see over a 3-year, 5-year period, companies start increasing their vendor base, but you've got to start with creating that vendor base. And I think the message is very clear for Tesla that come to India, figure out your procurement vendors, brief them, get your POC in place, and start getting your parts from these Indian vendors and start selling in India. There's no problem with that.
And we'll help you. We'll help you by the way of a PLI scheme.
Exactly.
We'll make it easier for you.
The revised PLI scheme, I think, is, it may be tweaked because, there are two things to it. There is the revised PLI 3.0, which will come. And then there is going to be the entire electric vehicle policy, because Tesla has a huge electric fleet as well. So both of these may get tinkered, as the government has stated, on the basis of the blueprint that Tesla submits to the government of India, on the basis of the research and the mapping of the Indian market, the supply side of the Indian market that Tesla does. But one thing we know for sure, and glad that the government has stood by it, is that there is going to be no reduction in import duties. Whatever you want to, put out on Twitter or wherever else, there is no reduction on import duties.
Okay, Rakesh is back with us. Rakesh, from what appears to be is that both parties are now sitting at the table discussing how to work it out, as opposed to reduce and tinker with duties, make it easier for us to enter into India. Government, of course, saying that there has to be a level playing field. We cannot be seen as favorable to you. We will make it easy for you by the way of PLI scheme, an electric vehicle policy, how to incentivize you, because your large portfolio is that of electric vehicles. But this is going to be an attempt made to to chart out a roadmap, as opposed to give you what you want.
On a platter.
On a platter.
So interesting, from a difficult market for Tesla and Elon Musk, India is an exciting place to, explore. So that explains the paradigm shift in the last couple of months. I'm happy that Government of India stuck to its roots and said that, nothing to do with discounts on the tariff. But otherwise, you're most welcome. And we have templates here, which are in existence. Yes, you have a EV portfolio which we want to transition completely in the next few years. So you're welcome, but the terms of engagement have to be as per the rules of the land. And rules of the land, as Karthik rightly mentioned, there could be a PLI tweak, if we can call it 1.1 for EV category, but there's a huge pipeline, Karthik, for PLI 3, and as of now, the budgets that were marked for PLI have already been overshot. So in that sense, there isn't a great window to really create a major upset or create a major exciting window for Tesla. But yes, come explore India and create relationships. And so you just can't come and start selling here. The consumption story in India is phenomenal, and everybody wants to tap into that. But now is the time, and rightly so, for the government to exercise that consumption story as a lever and tell people that if you want to set a base, as I said, in China, in the auto sector in the 90s, when India opened up, they insisted on having these very profound joint ventures, majority owned by Chinese. We took the other route. And here is a time for correction. So in that sense, Tesla's own tone has changed dramatically, and we shouldn't be too excited or holding a red carpet for anyone, whether it's Tesla or someone else, who doesn't want to conduct business the way it should be conducted with a sovereign nation. So it was very unfortunate that, Tesla owner, Elon Musk, tweeted using his own constituency to say that India is a difficult market. He has realized the folly, and I'm happy that, he's on a negotiating table and he deserves a deal because it's a big company, it's a tested global corporation in that sense. Yeah, you're playing that tweet again. Yeah, so in that sense, I think he's learned his lessons, and I'm happy that Government of India did that. I mean, we must celebrate also the very, very competitive federal structure in this country where each state is vying. We've seen what's happened with Foxconn. Both Karnataka and Telangana are vying and have actually got a letter of confirmation or affirmation, not confirmation, from Foxconn to set up plants independently there. So please, come and you're welcome, but at the terms and conditions that are relevant to the Make in India store. And as it is
Rakesh, one quick question. You think the government would have been as adamant if Tesla was not manufacturing thus far in China, but maybe some other country like Taiwan or South Korea? Would the government still have been, so pokey into Tesla's entry into India?
Interesting question. So that China's entry into India via Tesla, number one. Number two, that India is a difficult market. So all that added up, it shows that arrogance and that sensitivity. I think he tripped on both.
All right. So I think tweeting didn't really work out for Elon Musk. It doesn't in most cases. He's tweeting less. I am given to understand now that he's back at Tesla, no more in charge of Twitter. But
I don't know if he's driving more now that he's back in Tesla.
Absolutely. but Elon Musk and Tesla's story continues to hog limelight, as we're now given to understand that this has eased way for Tesla coming into India. We don't know when that's going to happen, but at least the two parties now, Indian government officials and Tesla, sitting at a table and deciding the roadmap for Tesla's entry in India.